Hello. How's it going? How are we doing? How are things? I'd meant to stream yesterday, because I had wanted to, but my allergies were acting up, and physically I didn't feel too great. I was incredibly tired. None of that has really changed as of today, but I have resolved that we are going to do this. And I am actually genuinely excited to stream first and foremost, but also play this silly, stupid game that does not look great. So I say it doesn't look great. For full transparency, I have seen somebody play a little bit of it before. It came out right before the Dead Space remake released. And they kept, like, touting themselves as being like, oh, the new modern Dead Space. And it's like, but Dead Space is, like, coming out in, like, a month. So, you know. And it didn't look that great, but, you know, that's fine. I got it in the Humble Bundle. I can't complain. So here we are. That's totally okay. As you know, we appreciate a good lurk around here. Do what you gotta do though. We'll be here. I'll probably be yelling and or whining, but like in a good fun kind of way. Um yeah, I don't know. My light has me looking even more white than I am. More pale than normal. That's fine. We're just gonna be incredibly washed out today. But no, I'm excited to be here. I've been, I've missed streaming so much. But as we've talked about previously, I've definitely, like, been putting, you know, my physical health first, because it's been good and important to, you know, heal up, excuse me. Oh my god. Hiccups, please. But, like, as far as, like, recovery is concerned, from, like, my surgery and stuff, we are doing fantastic. I have my follow-up appointment on Tuesday, just to check in with my doctor to kind of see how we're doing overall, and excited about that. But yeah, it's been really fucking hot, and the pollen count has been way too high recently. And also, my upstairs neighbors like to stomp around in the middle of the night, specifically their children, and they don't stop their children from doing that. So that's cool and fun. So yeah, I've just been tired and full of the allergies. Thank you for the lurk, Gooey. As per usual, we do have the content warnings in chat. Despite the fact that this came out 2 years ago, no one has really filled it out. So heads up on that. There are the usuals of, like, oh, there's gore and excessive violence and stuff like that, but as far as, like, specific content warnings, I'm not entirely sure. So approach with caution. I don't imagine it's gonna be any more. It's gonna deviate from any of the kind of content that was in Dead Space, but that's also a different game. But for now, y'all want to play a game? New experience, please. There is this. I sent a screenshot of it to Fruity earlier, but there is this dismemberment mode that they, like. Speaking of Fruity, hello. There's this dismemberment mode that they, like, are talking about. Like, they, like, came up with a pop-up when I launched the game being like, hey, dismemberment mode is available, and it just talks about shooting enemy limbs off, and it's like, yeah, okay. We're just gonna play on normal mode. What is? Medium? I don't know what security means. Also, hi, Fruity, how's it going? Preemptive apologies, I will be wiping my nose a lot. Potentially pausing to blow my nose, because, like I said, fucking allergies, man. As well, that they put the mechanic in if it's not important. of effort. In Dead Space, it's like the whole thing, right? Right? Yeah, I don't know. Listen, they want this middle one to be barely visible, but I'm also, like, blind as fuck. I can kind of see that. The one on the left. I realize you can't see my cursor. That's cool. We'll take it there. One on the left might not be, like, super visible, and we'll call that good. Select. Let's go. Y'all ready for this? Oh. Sometimes you just gotta turn the sliders all the way up. You're gonna see me for 0.2 seconds. Because I need to do things. Just don't worry about it.
Shocking footage from Europa.
There we go.
A brazen attack by the Outer Way terrorist group, led by the notorious Danny Nakamura.
That's enough. We got a job to do.
This is Callisto, hangar control to UJC Caron. You have cleared the security perimeter.
Roger, hangar control. Laying in course for Europa Station. You got something to say? You gotta keep flicking that thing all day.
I was watching that.
It's our last run, Max. And I'm done talking about it.
Then what do you want me to say?
How about thank you? Because after this job, we're never gonna have to work another day in our lives.
Well, I guess you got it all figured out.
I guess so.
Come on, man, what is this? Huh? Back and forth, Callisto to Europa, all this additional security.
It's a prison moon, Max. They take their security pretty serious.
And what about the attacks? Huh? How do you explain that?
By the Outer Way? They've been hitting targets all over the sector for the past 6 months.
We got a yellow light in the cargo hold.
That's probably nothing.
Well, it's still worth checking out.
You shouldn't worry so much, you know?
How you doing, friends?
With a party of 9. Kaysh and the gang welcome you.
Port and starboard
How
sensors
y'all
are both
doing?
showing errors. Go check them out.
Hold on a second.
going.
Howdy, hello, welcome. How's it going? I'm gonna pause the game just for a hot second so I can say hi. How are you doing? Welcome in. Long time no see. I've lurked in your streams a little bit here and there, but I've been a little busy recently. But welcome in, Chew and friends. Things have been going real well. Just a quick sort of rundown on things. Yeah. Excuse me. I had surgery done at the end of May and have been kind of offline for a while to like recover from that. Everything is healing up just fine. I'm feeling great. Doing super duper well since then. Got really bad allergies today, but that's just, you know, a typical sort of thing, but we're doing good. Happy to be back and to be streaming again. But yeah, welcome in, friends. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kaysh. I use they, them pronouns. And I'm a horror and mystery game streamer. We like to play scary things here. But today we are playing, I've already forgotten the name, Callisto Protocol. I should know because I keep riffing on it. Because I tend to play scary stuff, with some heavier adult content. I do offer content warnings for every single game that we play. If you ever need those, they will pop up in a chat automatically, but you can also do !CW to pull those up. We will generally have a list there, or a link to a page that has a list. Unfortunately, despite the fact that this game has been out for 2 years, the list is not super complete, so approach with some caution. I we had mentioned it a little earlier. I've seen somebody play a little bit of this before, just because, like, I had already pre-ordered Dead Space at the time that this had come out, and so I was like, I'm not gonna buy another game. And I mean, the devs of this game were like, yeah, it's gonna be the new version of Dead Space, and it's like, yeah, but I could just go play Dead Space. And it seemed to have a fairly lackluster reception, but you know, I have it now, and we're interested to see what it's got. But yeah, Chew and friends. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but we'll see. I mean, it could potentially be fine, possibly. It's gonna be fun to play it and either make fun of it or be pleasantly surprised either way. But yeah, you've probably been streaming for a little while. If you need to take a break, and this goes for anybody who's rated over as well, if y'all need to take a break, please feel free to do so. We've only just started streaming, so we'll be here for a little while if you do feel like coming back, but otherwise, it's important to me that you take care of your dang self. So get up, get a snack, get a drink of water, do a stretch. Maybe don't stare at a computer screen for a little while. I don't know. But thank you for the raid. I really appreciate it. And it's so lovely to see you. How have you been? How's it been going? We've literally just started, so I don't know what's happening. Just want to make sure that everything looks like it's fine. Why am I not allowed to run yet? 'Cause that kind of sucks. All things considered, it does look pretty cool.
You going or what?
I mean, it looks good. Oh, jeez. As long as it's going good. Sometimes, while the unemployment aspect of things is not great, sometimes you just need to not work at a certain place anymore. I don't know what your situation is, but I'm glad to hear that you are doing well despite the unemployment.
Come on, Max. You gotta stack these right.
Man has blocked us in. I can zoom. This is all we can do right now. We can zoom. But yeah, visually it looks fine. Oh, no, you want me to go there? I'm genuine. And I can crouch. Sir, I would like to run. To keep you busy, and honestly, it was so stressful that you're glad you got kicked out. Body seems to have realigned itself. Okay, I'm glad that you were able to, that you've been able to get some rest, and that it seems like it has been a good change. I have been in that position where you're like, well, it's nice to have money, but also this job is not doing me any favors. Good. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that everything continues to move in the right direction for you. This man is so stompy.
Son of a bitch.
Mental health is absolutely 100% more important than money. Money helps, but, like, you have to take care of you, and the fact that our world will not do that for you is horrible and dumb, but good on you for taking charge of that. Yeah.
Max, we got trouble.
Why is
What's up?
everything on
We've
fire?
been boarded.
Oh, shit. The outer way?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
All right.
Also,
All right, well, you get...
I am gonna turn this down a little bit because that looks so loud. always difficult to tell, like, just from the main menu if everything is gonna be the correct volume or not. So let's try that.
Grass back up here. And watch your back.
That looks like
Now
it's
it could be
done
anywhere.
absolutely nothing. Why is it? It's not drowning me out? Okay. Cool. It's really loud on my headphones is the other thing, though. Like, it's usually not loud on my headphones. It's loud enough. Alright, we'll leave it as is then. Perfect. Thank you all for confirming. Again, it's been long enough since I've like done any streaming stuff that I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I barely remember how to exist right now.
It's gotta be here somewhere.
Okay. We're kind of just hopping into this. No, I mean, for sure. I can also turn it down elsewhere if the volume is fine for y'all. I can turn it down for me and not have it affect your guys' volume thing. Maybe it's just loud because the man is actually literally in my ear.
Anything? Almost out of time.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I can run. Oh!
There he is!
Oh!
Max! I'm heading for the bridge! Pump it up! What are you gonna do? Whatever I have to.
It's the lady from The Boys.
What are you doing? No! Shit!
Well,
Just hold on! I'm on my way!
feels like it's the boy from Ladies. She plays Himiko. Well, I can only climb so fast. Also, maybe it's just me, but like, it's a very little nitpick. But like, I don't trust a man named Jacob. Sorry if there's anyone in chat named Jacob. It's just how it is. This man is really not brawling with any sort of haste, huh? You would. Yes, on the Jacob slander. It's like, I've only known like 4 Jacobs, and like they were all shit.
Sorry, but I got no choice.
Hashtag not all Jacobs, but
Already at maximum. We're not gonna make it. Yes, we are. Watch out. Hold on. Brace for impact.
to be fair, I am giving this series a lot of shit. This game a lot of shit for like being a Dead Space wannabe. I mean, I think it was created by one of the original creators of Dead Space. But it still just goes back to the whole, like, we'll just make another Dead Space then. Anywho.
I told you not to worry. Max.
I think the man is dead.
Max. Hang on, buddy, I'm coming. Hey. Whoa.
Chico? Chico? Oh, I didn't listen.
Hey, come on. Come on. God damn it.
Ups.
One life sign detected. Continuing search.
one. Okay, let's get you out of here. Manifest says you were running cargo out of the hangar.
Also,
Don't get many of you freelancers out here.
ripping a ribbit.
Just doing my job. Don't I know it?
Thermal regulators enabled.
First ship I ever lost. We were boarded by
Let go of me!
her. She's the one who... Hey. Cool your jets, cargo jockey. You do your job. You let me do mine, all right? Sir. Yes, sir?
Wait, is that the boy?
Whatever you say. Grab him, too. Hey! What are you doing? Hey! I didn't do anything!
Ooh. Is it just all cutscenes?
The fuck are you looking at?
Wyatt.
It is the boy.
Okay, inmates. Do not speak unless they are spoken to.
There's been a mistake. My name is Jacob Lee. I'm not an inmate.
You were inmate 532-521. You address me as Captain Ferris.
What? No. I'm just a cargo pilot. I was attacked by the Outer Way. By her. She crashed my ship and she killed my first officer.
I don't care. Warden's orders. Oh, speak of the devil.
Choice. Every choice in your life has led you here. To this moment. To this place. The only place where you truly belong. To find the one thing that has always been missing. A purpose for your meaningless life. This is Warden Cole. And together, we will find that purpose. Welcome to Black Iron Prison.
I just love that last part. Gives me chills every time. End of the line, get up. Inmates. I gave you a direct order.
This is not right. I don't belong here.
Listen. You know they call Callisto the dead moon. Dead. Just like you would have been if I hadn't fished you out of that wreck. I mean, shit. As far as anyone else is concerned, you are dead. It's time you moved on. Because you're crossing over to a new kingdom.
No.
My kingdom. So whatever it is you're holding on to right there, that's your old life. You gotta let that go. Because your new life is entirely in my hands.
Surprise, dead man.
Okay. Grab her. Let's go.
You are now entering Black Iron Prison, a division of UJC Corrections. Proceed immediately to new inmate processing.
Hey! Stop it!
Wait a second.
Wait! No, you gotta...
Sir?
532-521. Dr. Caitlin Marler, and as per Article 412 of the UJ...
I've been around long enough to know where this is going.
With a core device.
The doctor, he's not in the system. We don't know...
Just prep the device.
What the fuck? That device? No! You're a goddamn doctor!
Yes, and I intend to faithfully execute my responsibilities. Try not to move, it'll only make things worse.
Oh, fuck you!
Ouchies.
Doctor, he's flatlining.
Injector.
So from what I do remember of this game, it really is just like they just wanted it to be a movie. It's like, just make a movie then? It's all flash, no substance. Alright. Also, Captain Ferris is Sam Witwer, who I exclusively know as Crashdown from Battlestar Galactica. I'm just excited that he's here. Look, it's me. Okay, game, I've explored. Oh. Give me the funny little anime cube. Listen.
All security personnel report to the main cell block.
Not them using little lullabies to freak you out again. Please.
There is nothing to fear.
What the hell?
Ip.
Something's not right.
Okay, well, clearly we've been here for a minute. Just gotta escape.
Alert. Security systems offline.
Chunky.
Remain in your cell.
This is, escalated very quickly.
Prisoners.
Poor robot. Well, we'll just go for a lovely little jaunt, I guess.
Warning.
Does everything look okay on y'all's end?
Hey man, over here.
I trust man.
Bruv, what the fuck is going on?
Bruv!
What the hell's going on? My ship crashed. I got thrown in here, and then I woke up to this.
Well, look. You're that pilot they just brought in, yeah? Yeah, well, look, I've been in here.
Just?
I know this place.
Okay, never
How'd you
mind.
get out? If you help me out of this cell, I'll help you, yeah? Look, you can use this to get inside the control room across that bridge. You can open my cell
Never
from
mind.
there.
No time has passed, basically.
Name's Elias, by the way.
Jacob.
Don't lose it, Jacob. I just saved your life.
Thanks, Elias.
Don't leave me hanging.
How do I attack? Would someone like to tell me how to attack? I mean, they'll tell me when I need to know, but I would like to know now. Because I keep hitting buttons to test shit out, and it won't let me do anything until just the right moment. And that annoys me. Again, just a tiny gripe, but a gripe nonetheless. Isn't this like one of the games that started the whole like debate, if you can call it that, about games like telling you where to go with like yellow paint or whatever? I think it's a stupid argument. Just let devs tell you how to get where you need to go how they want to. It's fine. I'm getting it. But at the same time... Hi. Not gang member 2. A. Okay, I see. Okay, no, I understand. You just want me to use the left and right arrow keys. Jesus fuck. Okay, game, I understand how melee works. Bye. Wow, Jacob was really just ready to just absolutely fucking kill a dude. Oh god. Sorry, it's so kinetic. And it's so flashy. Like,
What the fuck was that?
it was just a guy. Don't worry about it. It's just so... I don't, over the top? Listen, I love me some, like, extreme, stupidly gratuitous, like, amounts of violence. Alright? But I also like not getting dizzy. Yeah, we just went over this. It's... Okay, alright, it's fine. Again, this is very much just going to be a game that I, like, whine about a lot. And I hope you're all ready for that.
What are you on about?
I know what I saw.
Look.
Is zombies.
This is our chance. Whatever it was you saw, it's all the more reason to get out of here. You see that watchtower?
Yeah.
Yeah, the watchtower sees us too.
How? Elevator's that way. Take it up to the next level. I'll be in touch.
But what if it doesn't work? What if the elevator is broke? Do I have a flashlight? It's very weird not to have, like, a dedicated dodge button. Ow! And to just use the arrow keys instead? Ugh. I don't know that I like that. I might just need to get used to it. Okay, how? Spacebar. Okay. Yeah, like, I stand by that might just be, like, something that I'm having some difficulty with just because I've been playing so much Elden Ring recently. But it is odd. I can hear you.
Enable two-way comms with your core. You know, you pick up a few tricks when you've been here as long as I have. I see you made it to the lift. Just take it down and find the elevator on that level.
Alt. Ugh. You have to use the Alt keys to change between menus? Gross. I was hoping to use the health gel that I picked up, unless I automatically used it and just missed that. Well, here's hoping that it's fine. I did turn off motion blur, and I can only imagine how fucking horrible this would be with motion blur on. At least I'm pretty sure I turned it off. Hold on, I'm gonna triple check that because that was a lot. Graphics? Gameplay? Accessibility? Wait. Screen options. Is it not in here? Okay.
Warden's orders. Access restricted to Mahler's team only.
Okay.
Never thought I'd miss the old Warden. At least she was by the book.
Okay, I don't care about the audio logs. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'd rather... Hello! I'm just gonna keep... Oh, okay, never mind. Didn't realize I was dead. Yeah, it's weird. Dodging is weird. It's not as intuitive as I would like for it to be. Hi, phone? Can we not... Jesus! Okay. If we get stuck here... I think some of the issue that I'm having is that it's like the monster is moving around. Hold on. Okay, it is automatically used. Understood. It's moving around so much that it's hard to tell when it's actually attacking me and when it's just wibbling. That's what it's doing. It's just wibbling. And I don't know if it wants me to dodge in, like, a specific direction based on whether it's swinging with its left or its right. Because that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna get that. Just putting that out there right now. I will be struggling with that.
Elias, something's wrong with the elevator. I'm heading down, not up.
Damn! That means you're headed to Solitary. You can still reach the watchtower. Just have to go the long way. Just
Gross.
be careful. They keep the real crazies down there.
Okay. Is anyone gonna explain why... Wait, that just does not... Didn't even faze me. Did make me lose my train of thought, though. Is anybody gonna explain why we're here? Like... He must have done something bad. Junkie. I mean, he must not have. He doesn't have to have, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. Because, you know, industrialized, prison systems are not, exactly known for their fairness and or, just general goodness. But, everything has escalated so quickly. Oh, I got them Callisto credits. Is that really what the money is called? Is that what we settled on? Oh, can I stomp on you? Thanks for the health. Sam. That's my friend Sam. Thanks for the bubble. How are you doing? How's it going, friend? Everything has sort of just escalated so quickly.
I just got the going live alert sample to Boogie.
Hi, Sam, I'm here. I'm live. I'm alive and live. Thank you for the sub, friend. How are you doing? Can I stomp on this body? No, not all bodies are stompable. Boring. and Brit? Hello? Hi, pals. How, like, listen, I've asked a couple of times already, but, like, officially. We appreciate a good lurk. Listen. But, how is everyone? Like, genuinely. I know I've talked to some of y'all, like, while I was on a stream hiatus and stuff. Bad soup. But, like, y'all, how's it going? I'm personally doing pretty alright. I got the bad allergies right now, but aside from that, everything is, like, really solid. Saw Power Trip last night, and now you are the sleepiest? How was it, though? I'm vaguely watching this game going, oh, Kayshurr's beating this guy's ass, and this guy's ass, and allergies is right.
Oh shit, bro. One of my mates. I known him forever. He was this
There are
He
too
attacked
many
me.
asses between us and freedom.
You hurt?
Or us and any semblance of, like, an actual plot, I think?
I had to kill him. Kill it.
What the fuck? Wait!
What's going on?
Sorry, I didn't understand what was happening for a second. Yes, I got jump scared, but that's because I literally didn't know what was going on. So good. You watched for the first time in like 10 years because you had no other choice. Oh no! Oh god. Well, like, I'm glad it was so good. And I hope that, I mean, it sounds like it was, or at least I'm assuming it was, that the mosh was, like, good. The mosh pit was, the people in the mosh were good and nice and didn't trample on anyone. Hello? Are you gonna come through there? Oh, Baracko Bussy. You always call it out. Like the real one you are. It is Disability Pride Month, isn't it?
Elias.
I don't know. I look, my ability to keep track of time is so wild.
Now this detour
But
might
yeah,
actually work
remind
for
me,
us.
wash your bussies,
There's
y'all.
a weapons lockup just past the infirmary. You'll need to watch out though. Security units are back online.
Ugh. Not the RoboCops.
Oh God, no! Move!
The death drop. But try not to death drop literally.
Has been
right?
authorized.
Sorry, these are so cartoonishly silly.
Area secured. Moving to medical sector.
Good job, RoboCop. You fucking pig. I said what I said. No, that's I'm happy you had a good time. Adorable thrashing child versus. Oh no! Oh, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that.
Lethal force authorized.
Oh, let's just.
They can't track us.
Prison systems are breaking down like that elevator back there. Just
Do not
stay out of their line of
apologize.
sight and
It
you
was
should be able to
beautiful.
sneak by.
Oh my goodness. Can I? What do you mean? I mean, I know what stay out of sight means. But that means I can't stomp that body, and that's stupid.
Can't let them see me.
Yeah, I understand. That is what don't let them see you
Scanning for
means.
movement.
Why? Trying to do baseline human functions like eating, but also you need to take care of your yard. Buying a condo next is fuck.
No activity detected.
Ah, jeez. Not hurricane. It is that time of year, isn't it?
All
Heck.
systems nominal.
I don't know where to go. And some of that's because I'm not really paying attention. But stay safe. You got this. Do and eat, because that is important. Remember, if making a whole meal is too much work, you can just eat bits of things. Hurricanes will knock out power for sure. Tornadoes specifically will ruin subways, freezers, and keep you from getting a sandwich when you would really like a sandwich. Sometimes I just open a can of something and eat it cold with a spoon. Listen, it works. It's not what you want to do all the time, but if you gotta, you gotta. Good on you for getting food in you. Can we stop getting these little larvas on us? Green peas, refried beans. It's a mystery. You could make it more, you know, Sorry. You can make it more exciting by just ripping all the labels off of every bit of canned food that you have in the house. So then it's really a mystery. Oh, wait, no, take that. I don't like these puppies. Dinner tonight is canned food. I sure love it when I have canned food for dinner. It's my favorite. Look, again, sometimes just getting any sort of food in you is good. Can we... Look, I'm the monster. Have we considered that he is just vocal stimming over here? Because, boy, same. Take off all the labels, replace them with new labels that have question marks on them. Exactly. I'm here for this. Yeah, give me that health. I am going to need all of it. Also, the flashing in this is really annoying. Like, it mentioned that there was a lot of flashing lights. And I believed them, but like... bad. Yeah, what Sam said, on a serious note, please take care, especially if hurricanes are coming around. Be safe.
Jacob, it's getting worse out here. Where are you?
I am in a vent.
Still looking for that weapons lockup.
It's
Okay,
just
you're
like
getting close.
Alien
Just keep
Isolation. Camera, why did you do that? You will be okay unless we lose power. Then we're fucked. Ah, jeez. Weather has not been nice in places. Can we? Fuck off? I'm knocking those limbs off. Ooh, boy. Where are you going? Get back here. You coward. He is going buck wild in that vent. Hey, do you have some health on you? No, just credits. Does anyone have a tiny morsel of health? Because I would love just a little crumb of health, please.
Jacob, you find anything?
A stick.
All that's left is this baton.
Stick. 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 Stick.
Stun
Stick.
baton, yeah. But those things do pack a punch, though. And we are gonna need it.
Why did they make the stun baton look like a fucking machete? Why are you... Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought he was, like, attaching the stun baton to his, pipe.
You're almost to the watchtower.
But also, why did you get rid of pipe?
It's empty now, so you should be good. I'll meet you on the other side.
Yeah, see you there.
Hello? Okay. Hello? I like that his leg fell off before he hit. Still got the good goops. I'll give it that. That body is solid. Okay, I hear y'all in the vents. Just come out. Say hello. His leg got tired. You see, he's been running around all day and his leg just said, I can't do it anymore. Jeff? Jeff, you gotta stop running. I am so tired. I forgot how to crouch for a second. I'm incredibly distracted by all these fucking goblin noises happening. Like, bud, it's okay. I just want some health. Jacob's gonna be on no health forever. This is just making me want to play Dead Space again. Like, the remake. I think I started a New Game Plus run and then just never finished it. Hold on. I can stomp all the bodies in Dead Space. I am allowed, nay, encouraged, to do a stomp on every body. And I love that for me. Health? Okay, is this health injector something that I can actually use? Yes. Use. That's what I heard, which is like why I was like so excited to start a New Game Plus run. And then I think I just got busy or distracted. I think I started another game and then was like, oh, that's my hyperfixation now. But hello? But should do that sometime soon. Maybe when I need a break from Elden Ring, play some Dead Space. Jacob, you have to dodge. When I hit the button for you to dodge, bud, I'm gonna need you to dodge, okay? Sorry. I don't know what that was. Okay. It was very nice of this guy to kind of just stand there and wait for me. There's so many goblin noises. Jacob didn't really, like, do his full animation there. Leg kind of just fell off. It looked like he was trying to chop it off, but it just kind of popped off on its own. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Yeah. No, you know what? You're correct. This is me just trying to get them to be like, no. See, I'm one of you. See? Rudy called it. You know what's up. What's in here? Can I go in here? No, there's nothing over here. Oh, I need to heal this boy. Energy converter. Oh! You see that guy get thrown? There's a lot happening in the background, and I am just not really paying attention to, like, the danger that I could potentially be in. It's fine. It is nice that there are things happening around us. Listen, you can't just distract me with noises and then not expect me to just try and figure out how to make those noises. Like, that's just how it goes. My brain hears sounds and says we need to know immediately how to make these noises. And then we do. Reminder, if you need somebody to make scary noises for a horror game, I'm here. I exist. I can be a goblin, or a zombie, or some horrible flesh-eating demon. I'll even talk about tall women for you.
Warning.
No, I will not elaborate.
Warning.
Yeah. Same hat. It's like, you know. I can't climb up that. Okay. I've just kind of wandered around? Is this where I came from? No. As silly as this game is, I am having fun. Not necessarily because it's good, but like, there's at least stuff to talk about.
I got you. I'm sending in squad 9.
Or at least I have things to talk about.
Hold your position.
Hi, Crashdown.
All right, then activate all tactical.
I did start rewatching, excuse me. Started rewatching Battlestar while I was recovering from
How the fuck did
surgery.
you get in here? You think I got time for this shit?
Please, buddy.
Okay, let me see if I got this straight. You crash here, and then this whole place goes to shit. Oh, 5, 2, 1. Look at me when I'm talking to you. What'd you do?
My
Huh?
goodness.
You can tell me, are you different?
I do always rewatch Battlestar. It's true.
Why'd
It's
the
not
warden
wrong.
want you alive?
Love Battlestar. I watched so much TV while I was recovering.
This is my kingdom. It's all yours.
Oh, jeez. Get him, buddy. But Fruity, it's the guy that Gaius shot when they were stuck on Kobol.
Elias, I'm through. And so is Ferris.
Because he was gonna let Callie get killed. And, you know, he shoulda let Callie get killed.
You're harder than I thought. Just keep
Anyway.
going now. I found a safe room up ahead.
Yeah! Poor little guy. Couldn't handle the pressures of actually seeing action. Aftermath. He was a baby then. It's weird seeing him as an adult. You want me to say, like, watch you?
What is required to make the hard choices. As your new warden, I will do what is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
For you.
Okay.
For the storied institution. For the good of all.
We gotta find Elias. Oh. You okay, robot? How you doing, robot? Excuse you. Oh my god. It was a sad robot. You know what this reminds me of? Or I guess there's something else that reminds me of this. The first Silent Hill combat trailer for the Silent Hill 2 remake. The combat in this reminds me of the combat that they like showcased there, and that was one of the reasons why I was like, that's not what you're doing, is it? Because it was just so involved. Like, the camera was just so wiggly. Dynamic is probably the best word for that, right? It's just, it's doing all the things, and it needs to not... I need the flashing to also not be as aggressive as it is. It's this... Like, flashing lights are never great to see, but you can also make them not as harsh. Oh my god. Anyway. Hold on, Elias. You have to wait, because I have to fix my waistband real fast. Again, healing up really dang well, but my tummy is still a little sensitive. I'm collecting things, sir. My health is full. Okay. I gotta get the bits. The bits. The bits. Are you gonna give me a gun?
Take that over to the Reforger. You can use it to print a new weapon. Give me a minute to tap into the system.
I have gun? Right? I made so many Callisto dollars! And Elias over here is like, what are you doing? I'm getting rich, motherfucker. Listen. Got credits? Print gear.
The choice is yours.
Okay, well... It's not, is the thing. The choice is not mine. I can only do this. Listen. $40 is $40, okay?
Got it. If we're gonna get out of here, we need a ship.
If that makes me Mr. Krabs, then
found an inmate with the
I
skills to
was
hack
gonna
the network and
attempt
call
to
down
do
from
his
orbit.
laugh and I can't.
Bad news is they're in the ship.
Is that
Maximum
it?
security.
Is that how he does it?
Fucking tough getting in.
Oh, fucking no, man.
Yeah, ever since I got it.
Yeah, they can scramble your brains a little bit. Don't worry, you get used to it.
Yeah, you sure know a lot about this place.
Yeah, I've had nothing but time.
Okay, so what's next? The shoe? We just waltz our way in there?
That's not
It's not gonna
correct.
be that easy, bro. Look, I've been here a long time. I've got privileges that you don't. So I'm gonna have to take you a different way. But I'll be
Also,
your eyes
who
and
is
ears
this
and
guy?
guide
Who's
you
this
along.
actor? He looks really familiar.
I got you. Unless you know I'm a pilot.
No, I'm afraid not.
I'll get that door for you.
Okay, well, hang on, Elias. I need to know who you are. Zeke Alton? Do I know that man? Quick, someone look up what Zeke Alton has been in. Not strategic targeting. Press and hold the right mouse button. Quickly press the left mouse button to automatically lock on. Okay. Why am I standing back here? I want to see that shit. Oh. You have no head. Do I have unlimited ammo? Oh, he gurgle.
It seems like it's
He says,
infecting them, turning them into those things. Take that elevator down to the next level, then follow
Yeah,
the
that
signs
happens,
to reach
bud.
medical. I'll be in touch.
Okay. Alright. Listen. We got that ushy gushy. And it wasn't great. Can't say I liked it. Oh my goodness. Sorry, hold on. My hair keeps tickling my chin. It's a weird thing to say. But it's tickly. And then a little itchy because of it. Hello. Okay. Apologies about all the flashing. Let me just get out of here real fast. Okay. Ugh. Hello? Sorry, I thought I heard a guy behind me. God, they really just go buck wild after you shoot their head off and kill them. Was that supposed to scare me? My health is full. Hello? Yeah, this just really makes me want to play Dead Space. If I were to play Dead Space again, and do New Game Plus and stuff like that, would y'all want to see that? Can I climb over this? Thank you. Just out of curiosity. Absolutely okay if not. I just like, it's been a minute since we've done anything, and so it's one of those like, hey, obviously I'll do the kind of content I would like, but also curious if that's a thing that y'all would like to see. Fruity would like to see Dead Space. I mean, it is known that you may or may not like Dead Space. When you play Fuel Secondary, you just here for the vibes of the friends. Also incredibly valid. It's very much like, I don't know, when I ask, this is just a generalized, not pointing out you specifically. When I ask those kinds of things, it's more just like a, hey, like, it helps me kind of gauge the interest, just because it's like, I don't know, if there's a game that, like, people are like, absolutely, I do not want to see that, then it's like, okay, that's fair. I'll do that on my own time, and that's okay. But if there isn't, like, a resounding no, then it's like, okay, we'll consider that and probably do it sometime. Because, you know, could literally be playing the Peppa Pig game and I will be here like... Aww. That means a lot to me. Cute. Did I just go in a circle? Are you shitting me? Okay. You hate all video games except Croc. Legend of the Gobos, actually. Also known. You and Croc, man. Whoa. Okay. Don't go back in the hole. The hole is bad? Really fucking dark in here. They were not kidding when they were like, oh, maybe I should have, like, followed their... No, I shouldn't have, because I turned it up. Turned it up more than they wanted me to. How do I get there? Oh god. Hello. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, okay, okay. I do kind of like the quick shooting option. That's kind of nice. Like, it feels good. But how much ammo do I actually have? Like, it doesn't really... Okay, I have 19 in total. Am I good on health? We're fine on health. Did they break through the thing? No, of course not. Yeah, it's just, it's like I said, question is very much just a generalized, like, hey, how do we feel about this? I do want to play, the same month that I got this game from Humble Bundle, I also got The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, which is one that I've been, like, wanting to play for a while now. And I do want to play that at some point. It's a, like, little point-and-click pixel adventure game, with, you know, horror overtones, maybe? Scary shit happens, and we're here for it. But, yeah. Okay, do I have to go back up? Do I have a means of, like, pressing a button and the game telling me where to go? You know, like Dead Space. It's... I keep mentioning it as well, but I cannot stress enough that, like, when this game was coming out, they kept begging for the comparison to be made, because they were like, oh yeah, look at us, we are the new Dead Space. And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of a lot to put on yourself. Why would you welcome that kind of a comparison, you know? Unless it was stated afterwards, where people play it and they're like, hey, this, like, reminds me of Dead Space. Like, don't invite that. Yeah, yeah! Sorry. Their whole shtick was being like, yeah, look at us, we're like the new cool Dead Space, and it released a month before the Dead Space remake, and it's like, what are y'all doing? What was the plan here? And it wasn't just like, oh yeah, we've got one of, like, you know, one of the guys that worked on Dead Space on our game. It was, no, we are like Dead Space, but we're not Dead Space, but, like, we're like a spiritual successor to Dead Space. And it's just like, that is a choice.
Error, error, error.
Oh, buddy. Also, why did the robots have the most generic robot voice? Not dead space, we're a live area. Got him. Okay. Listen. Why? Oh. I don't know why he missed, but he did. Cracked him open. Like a coconut. You know I'm here? You know I'm here. Alright, it's fine. They squish. Everyone here is so friend-shaped. I mean, I bet if you wrapped them up in like a nice furry coat, they'd be really nice to hug. So squishy and soft, you know? Oh.
Can't open it. You'll need to find security credentials. Look around for any dead guards nearby.
I mean, there's corpses. Hoo boy. There sure are corpses. None of these are guards. Unless you want me to go back here. Oh, I didn't need to stomp on him. Oh well.
Use your shiv to dig out their implant.
Wait, what?
You don't have a choice. It's the only way through that door.
Well, that feels a little,
What a mess.
You should probably look at
Do
where
what you gotta do in here.
you're doing stuff.
There's a way of
So you don't
changing you.
stab yourself. I was gonna say to Fruity that feels a little mean.
Inmates were tearing
The
through
lump
block.
goblins
I
need
had to
friends.
seal the door. Does anyone copy?
Yes, Officer Jane.
Warden Cole? Where are you?
In my tower. Watching.
What? Why? What's happening?
What do you mean I have to cut open a man? Already elbow deep in his intestines. No, Jacob, you have to cut out the implant from his neck. No, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Oh, hi! Oh, okay, he's not bothering anyone for now. Does sound like there are dudes just like stomping behind me at all times. What just flew off of him? Well, I was literally about to stomp you. Oh, hi, Farley. Did you hear me calling? Farley has responded to the calls of the goblin. Yes? Oh, farts. I feel like this game has like a certain level of wanting me to like stealth a bit. But I'm not going to, is the thing. What's under here? Is that the way they want me to go? I mean, yes, that's the way they wanted me to go. Yeah,
I had to fall back. There were too many.
It feels like there are times where they're like, yeah, we want you to crouch and be quiet and stuff, and it's like, yeah, but what if I just like... What if I just go and blast it, you know?
Oh god! No!
Inventory full. But I want those bits. I've not come across a place where I can sell these things, right? Like, that's just not happen. Can I... Okay, listen here. Yes, I'm gonna waste those 2 bullets so I can pick this up, which is what I was trying to pick up earlier. Oh, but there's things in here too! Why? Farley, get out from under there. Sorry, he has been very interested in chewing on all the cables as of late. And I think that's really naughty of him. And I don't think he should be doing that. Personally. Call me rude. I did not have enough time to process that. I thought that was a night cry moment with a head in the washer. It's fine, right? Farley, no, that's bad. Like, he's always been very interested in eating cables. That's just the thing that he does, you know? But as of late, he's been extra naughty about it. It's like, Farley, stop. Bud. This is how cats turn crispy. I'm, like, really mad about the inventory space situation. Where do I go? Is it this? Is it this yellow highlighted thing? Do you want me to go in there? It won't let me climb on that. Do I have a map? I don't think I do. Hate that I have to hit Alt. Am I just a silly guy who's missing a very obvious crawl space, vent, door? That's a stomp button. None of those buttons do anything. I thought this is where I came from. It is. This is where I came from. So what's here then? Okay, well, there's things happening, so I assume this is the correct direction. Hey! I don't think so. Oh my goodness. Get out from under there. Hold on a second. Sorry. Excuse me. Farley, this is why we can't have nice things, buddy. Because you're a horror and a terror. I need to... I have a cable management kit around here somewhere, and it's got those, like... those, like, mesh tubes that you can, like, you know, put a bundle of wires through. I'm gonna need to grab another one of those and put some of these together. You are a terror. I love you so much. But you are an actual menace. He is just sitting in the doorway being like, me? No, you need to go. Go. Go lay down somewhere. Go! Get! Oh my gosh. sexual menace. That's what I'm saying. I love him to bits. But he is a terror. And here's the thing. I've got toys and things out for him that are safe for him to chew on and are like wires. And I have set them up in places to kind of simulate a wire feeling for him. Does he want those? Absolutely not. I wasn't pressing E enough. Okay, come on. I've even got... I know it's not, like, great for him.
I'm in medical.
So you don't need to tell me.
Keep going to the back exit.
But
I'll contact you there.
I've got those clasps for, like, chip bags so that they, like, stay sealed and fresh or whatever. I had one of those break on me.
We have to find Mom.
Like, he really likes it, so he's got that to play with. And he definitely, like, chews on it. I tried to discourage him from doing it because it's bad for his teeth, but, like, there's only so much I can do. Hi, was that supposed to scare me? Because it didn't. I am leaving behind so many good, or what I assume are good, items because my inventory is the size of a toddler's pocket. I am not happy. Probably closer to, like, women's pants pocket sized. Toddlers are allowed to put things in their pockets.
That's
like
a
rocks
grip.
and tiny pumpkins.
Bastard guards love to use it on us inmates.
Yeah, I remember.
Farley is
But it's good.
lurking.
It works on all sorts of things too. Go on, give it a go.
Will do.
So the one thing I like, despite watching somebody play a fair amount of this game, I remember like nothing. Except this fun little quirk when it comes to combat. Fruity knows it. I'm very excited to show it once I'm able to. Don't know when I'm gonna be able to though. Also, how do I use it?
We don't know. Just hold it. I'll get another sedative. Hurry. We got prisoners in active way.
He went flying. Excuse me. Bone structure. Pigmentation status. Procedure C51.
Something was infecting people right before the breakout.
That's a lot of teeth. Anomaly detected. Okay, well... Apologies. I'm so gunky. Oh, that's weird. Oh, like, I actually hate that. Sorry, that's such a weird way to do it. I get that it's supposed to, like, mimic what he's doing. Excuse me. Hold on. Okay. But I hit the button to dodge. Are you dead? Okay. well, we can start getting rid of some of the stuff in our inventory now, so that's exciting. You have to, like, you aim, and then you flick the mouse wheel down to bring it towards you, and then flick the mouse wheel back, like, forward to throw it. Can I not just, like... I'm gonna change that, because that's a horrible option. Are you kidding me? Hold on. It has to be 2 separate buttons. Is grab and throw. Okay, but it looks like I can use the right mouse button, or excuse me, left mouse button to throw instead. Okay. I don't like that. There were more items around here, weren't there? Who cares? Definitely not me. Excuse me. My God. I am so sorry. I'm so sniffly and so full of sneezes. I know no one's, like, faulting me for it, but it's more just, must be really annoying to listen to. I know it's really annoying to experience, so... you know. Oh! Delightful! You do gotta let the sneezes out. It is true. Again, it's... I know that nobody's, like, faulting me for having allergies. But... hit him. It's just like Outlast.
Jacob! You made it! I'm gonna open up the maintenance elevator. That'll get you up here, yeah?
It's another game that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Not that, like... I don't know. I don't mind the first Outlast. It was an interesting game when it came out. I don't know that it is aged very well. In fact, I am quite sure it has not aged well at all. And the second one is horrible.
Looks like it's busted.
Get inside. I can drive it from here.
You sure about that?
It was impactful.
Gonna lower you
That
down
is for
nice
sure.
and easy.
It's not very nice. Also, don't put your hands there. That's a pinch point. Don't put your hand there.
Trying. One of the motors shorted out when I transferred power.
Stop the cab! Stop it!
Jacob, he's trying.
The system's not responding. You've got to do it manually.
What? How?
Just jam something into the brake.
It's fine. Just jump before it hits. Before it hits the ground, you know?
Come on, you son of a bitch!
This feels incredibly unsafe. Also, I can barely see what's happening. He didn't jump.
Jacob, you still with me?
Yeah, barely.
The fool.
I need to figure out why this system's acting up. Reset the power down there and get to the other elevator. You're nearly here.
Another elevator. Can't wait.
Yeah, can we stop going in elevators? Oh, that's a head! That's a sphincter! Can I stop on it? Who's making that noise? What was I supposed to be surprised about? Oh, hello! Does that go here? GRP will slowly recharge over time and can also be recharged quickly with a GRP battery. If the GRP runs out of the power while holding an enemy or object, it will drop. GRP will automatically consume a battery A battery from the inventory if available. To refill the blue GRP power meter on the back of Jacob's neck. You're okay. Oh. Okay. It's fine, I'm sure. Un momento. Sorry. Again, I'm very snotty right now. That's just the world that I live in. Is the world where I'm just full of snot. Some people are full of shit. I am full of snot. Why did you get me here? And not from over there? Oh, okay. Whatever. That was a chunk. That was a meat chunk. I don't know how I'm supposed to... I get that they want me to look out for those, but everything is so dark. And there are meat chunks everywhere. It's a $22 chunk. It's a good chunk. I need to remember to use my telekinesis. Hello? Ooh, I am out of ammo. Let's do that. And then... Oh, my GRP is full. Okay, whatever. Grip is full. Hello? Oh, he's wandering away. But I wanna throw a guy. You know? Sometimes you just want to throw a guy. How do I turn that off? They are. They're gonna feel my grip. Watch out! Not the lip gripping. Okay. Is this not where I came from? Jacob, go. Up. Why is he like this? Where? Why is it not? There we go. Oh, hello. Okay. Okay, alright. Oh god. This is less than ideal, I think. Did they make it so you can't pick up the big boys? I'm gonna be really sad if that's the case. I don't know that I'm allowed to pick up the big boys anymore. Hold on, we're gonna try that again and like not do it bad. Okay. Nope, you can pick him up still. I was just doing it bad. can't throw them very far. Okay. Run! Jacob! You fucking idiot. Don't like that. Sorry, Jacob was like just full on refusing to go towards the enemy. Which is a little bit of a problem for me when I am trying to kill them. There's too much movement during the combat. I did get licked. Can't say I liked it. It's not pleasant. Okay, well they're doing that. Let's go ahead and use this. I like, motion sickness aside, it is very annoying just having the camera move so much. Okay, nope, I'm out of battery. That's what's happening here. Stop looping me! This is not Dead by Daylight! Oh god, that would make me the killer. You think these guys are just trying to have a nice time and then Jacob shows up and is the problem, actually? What am I saying? Jacobs are always the problem. It said it, like, recharges over time, right? Yeah, I have exploded a lot of goblins today. Well, I'm glad that they all keep their money in their legs. Just like Dead Space. It said GRP comes back. Is that my grab? Gate fuse. Is my grab GRP? Look, I don't know nothing. Pants. Who took their pants off? Grab was burp. You think they just didn't know how to spell grab? Do you think that's what the thing was? Yeah, who pants? Hey, somebody dropped their pants. Also, is stream looking okay? Well, looks like my stream signal is not the strongest. And that's a little concerning.
Elias, I'm in the elevator. I see the shoe.
Hold on, I'm exiting out of some stuff to see if that helps.
Elias, you there?
I know my internet's been a little weird recently because of the heat. Might have just been a minor hiccup. Didn't look like anything stopped, but better touch wiggly. But you think your Twitch isn't working great? Okay, it might be a mix thereof, or potentially just all on my end. It looks like it's better now. I might need to just reset my router sometime soon. Just in general, just let it.
Sorry for not responding. This thing's found a way inside here. Really
Okay.
Can we still get to the shoe?
Yeah, it looks like it's stronger now.
But it's on emergency
So we should be
power,
fine.
So I'll need to stay here and run a manual override.
Also,
I can get you over there. I'm activating the gondola right now. You'll carry
disconnect my phone from Wi-Fi as well. Be kind of annoying, considering my internet's been like pretty fine since I've been here, but it's been having some issues for the last like month or so. Okay, what? Elias, I have shit that I need to sell. And we've been here for like an hour and a half. And there's been no place to sell things. Can you help me out, buddy? Hal? Can you be a friend? Is this it?
UJC printing.
Gondola, Jacob, get on it!
No, fuck off, dude. Okay, hold on. Alt. Again, weird. Weird button to have to push to change menus, but here we are. We got shop. Vial power. Wait, that's just making one, right? I don't want to make that. Ammo. Unlocks a new low attack for use following a successful block of an enemy's final attack. Unlocks a new heavier attack, ideal for extreme situations. Let's do energy increase.
Cycle complete.
I do remember, like, from what I saw, being kind of annoyed that it didn't look like it actually, like, made any cosmetic changes to the weapons. Which is, like, one of the cool, fun parts about Dead Space, is watching your shit kinda just get a little beefier. That's why we like BioShock. Just watch all the gubbins get added to your guns. Let's go ahead and block a counterattack.
Stand by.
Am I, like, misremembering Dead Space? Because I thought... I've got a foregrip on my pistol now. You've just made those words up. Okay, so it has, like, changed the look of them slightly. Still not happy.
No time to waste, Jacob.
Bro. Go away. They may not... Okay. That's fair. Maybe I'm just exclusively thinking about BioShock. Yeah. I mean, BioShock 1 is the big one, where you just stack shit on your gun, and that's cool. I like that. I want more games to do that. Like, if you're gonna have this whole thing where I get to, like, see you add shit to my gun, I want to see you actually add shit to my gun.
The gondola, Jacob, get on it!
I am going to kill Elias. After successfully blocking an enemy's last attack, press the left mouse button to do a low attack. I will almost never remember to do that. If I do it, it will be entirely on accident. But that's fine. Okay, you know what? Maybe that's my one complaint about Dead Space, is I need more shit on my guns.
It's full of those things.
What is? Well.
Right. Now you need to find a way to turn the power back on in there.
We did throw a guy off the cliff. That was cool. This guy just sort of collapsed. And I don't know what his problem was, but he just kind of gave up the ghost. And, like, I'm not mad about it. Give me that. Okay, give me that. You're giving me a lot of battery packs. Can I take these? Great. He slipped and all his blood fell out. Yeah. Wait, do I need to go in here? Oop, too far. Does talk about cleaning up spillages. No, it's still locked. Okay, so I just need to steal these and then go back, right? Gib. Alright, and now we leave? Hold on. What's in here? More health? I'm glad that there's been no shortage of health. You know? Game? What do you want? How do I go up? I go here. Okay. Sorry. Let me just get lost for a minute because I don't know what the fuck is going on. Oh, okay. Just take that, why don't you? I need to go back down. Hi, I'm gonna be super annoying about the puzzles because I am not paying attention. Also, it is true. Guns don't have enough greeblies on them. Greeble up them guns for me, please. Also, can we just talk about how weird it is to hit, like, Q or E to, like, climb stuff? This doesn't feel great. I can do it, but I feel like I should be able to just press forward. That's just a me thing.
Shit. The door won't open until the power finishes cycling up.
That's
Ready
fine.
for a fight?
Yeah. Oh. Jam! Jam! I'm gonna make all the jam with these boys. Jam. Jam, jam, jam. Jam, 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 jam. You were supposed to climb over that. Okay, excuse me. Whoa, no! I have turned Jacob into jam. Ups. I need... Upgrading the GRP is gonna be, like, our top priority, honestly.
The door won't open until the power finishes cycling up. Get ready for a fight.
Okay. Don't do that. Oh, I can't, like, throw him, really. That's kind of tragic. Oh god, I can't see what's going on. Are we dead? Thank you. Okay. Nope, nope, not that, not that. Go, climb, climb, Jacob. Oh my god. Juniper High. Can I use this? Nope, okay, great, love that. Love that for me. Yeah, I'm getting licked by goblins, and it's not great. Would not recommend. Just, heal that up real fast. And then... Yeah. 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 We'll just blend him up. There we go. How are you doing, Juniper? How's it going? Welcome in. Is this like... I got the notification that this is your first time chatting. Is this your first time here? I'm trying to, I guess, like, maybe you did fall, like, right as I was getting ready for my surgery. Well, regardless, happy to have you here. It's bad and goopy here right now. Oh god. Fuck off! His head was on backwards for a second. That was horrible. I'm not pleased about this, like, in the slightest.
The door won't open until the power finishes cycling up.
Well, I know it's not counting secret Elden Ring streams. I don't know, I think I'd, like, thought I had done at least a couple of streams prior to surgery, but I guess I really didn't, huh? Kind of, like, dropped off entirely for a bit there. Entirely necessarily. I needed a break. Whoa. Oh, hi! Okay. Yeah. There was a lot happening. It was a good thing to kind of just ease off on streams for a bit there. But we're back. And relatively rested and excited to be here. Okay. Oh, I still have no ammo. Ugh. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, I apparently needed to go, like, full focus mode for this fight for some reason. Yep. No, I know you're there. This is really annoying. Why? Okay. Either my man needs to automatically use the shit that's in his inventory, like the GRP batteries, when I am out of charge, or I need a quicker and faster way to actually navigate the menu in order to access the things that I need to continue to live during this section. Because when I pull this up, it loads.
The door won't open until the power finishes cycling up.
It just likes to hang on an item for a minute. And not actually select it. And that's really fucking annoying when I'm trying to do stuff quickly. Okay, reload that, bud. Come on. There we go. I also genuinely don't know how many charges I have. Like, it feels like an incredibly nebulous number, and maybe I'm just an idiot, and I'm willing to accept that if that's the case. But I also need these guys to not immediately spawn on me, and be able to, like, ruin my day when they've just shown up, you know? But that's okay. We're doing it. Oh boy. We're getting through. sir, you hit the moving parts. That boy is crawling. Just get scrunched. Are we done? Oh my goodness.
Look for the control room.
Thank
You'll
God.
need to rotate the structure to reach the cell.
Okay. Let's go ahead and use this. Because we might as well. We'll just let the battery... Listen, I am not in the mood to fuck around, my guy. I think I'm also just annoyed that, like... It's not that, like, they're relying on jump scares, but that, like... They're so obvious. Like, don't get me wrong. Dead Space had some obvious jump scares. And relied heavily on jump scares. But they were good. And I will stand by that. I don't have enough money for anything. I'm like coming across shops constantly now. And there were all those items back there. Early on. They're just gone forever now, probably, unless I go back there eventually.
Okay, that did it. Now get to the control panel so you can open that cell.
Guy's wibbling down there. Look at him go. Alright. You want me to go down? Okay. Is this right? Is this correct? It is. Okay. Yeah! I think, like, some of the first few jump scares of Dead Space, it was definitely, like, kind of obvious. I'm mixing up. I, like, can't move too quickly. Oops. Okay, like, some of the early ones are really obvious, but, like, that's just to, like, set the tone, and then the ones later on aren't necessarily that way. But then they'll bring back some of the obvious ones because you've already been lulled into this sense of security about, like, what to expect from the game. Bro, I am sick of you! Oh my god. I am out of battery. I hate this for me. Named your old squad Dead Space without ever having played the game. Just thought it was a good name. It is. It's true. Okay. Dead Space, good game. Dead Space 2, good game. It's wild for a trilogy to have both its games be so good, you know? It's like the Cornetto trilogy and how both of the movies in that, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, are so good.
I found it.
Can't dress up and get a wife and house
Good.
though.
I'll be right there.
Don't worry about it, Juniper. Don't worry about it. You have a wife, but she's not great. It is true. She's, she might be a bit wiggly. Excuse you?
Get me out of here!
What are you
Do that
doing
to an
here?
alert.
What the hell is going on?
Did you know it was her? Is this who we're looking for?
Yeah, well, look, I just knew it was someone who could help us,
And
right?
why would I help you?
Well, look, I've been here forever. Right, I've got all the information on this place and I can get us to the hangar. Right, and you can call down a shuttle and he can fly it out. Look, we can do this, we just gotta stick together, all right?
Thanks. I'll take my chances. A word of advice, though? Don't trust him. He's not what he seems.
Ma'am, which one of these guys were you talking to? Or about?
I swear, Jacob, I had no idea who she was.
I thought you knew everything about this place.
Yeah, I thought I did too.
So what now?
Now you're trapped in there until the cell docks, which means I can get on the tram, but you can't.
Okay.
Look, it's okay. I need you to go to waste processing, all right? Contact me once you're there.
Data transfer complete.
What the hell is that?
It's just a little something to help you out. Just trust in the plan, yeah? I'll see you soon.
Yeah, okay, bruv. What is this? Oh. How... There was a prompt there for 0.2 seconds. Is... You want me to... I don't know what to do. Oh, there. Okay. Jump! Oh, or do that. Whatever, dude. I'm a little confused on everything that is occurring. Specifically the timeline of things. Have we only just, like, have we been here a day? Is that it? I can hear something in here with me. Or maybe it's just electricity. Maybe that's just what I'm hearing. Who knows? Alright. Hi. Oh, okay. You've just really decided that you are going to move me regardless of what buttons I hit, huh? Planted. Alright, let's, not the wormies. It's fine. Wormy is gone. Actually.
I'm calling the tram now. You're gonna have to sneak out the way you came in. Look for a vent in the far corner.
Okay. Are you just assuming that it's me you're talking to? Because that doesn't... Like, you didn't look at me. Or do you have a way of tracking me so you know where I am? Probably, honestly, like, the least of our concerns right now, but... Can you reload? No, I can't reload because I have no... Annoyed. Why does it have teeth inside? Why have we chosen that? Alright. A little annoyed that I wasted ammo on the other two, but hey, what can you do? I am gonna heal up. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it was. We're gonna heal, bud. That matters. Healing matters right now, you know? Gotta make ourselves feel better. Just get that juice in you right away. Oh. like wasting all my ammo on these tiny little guys, but I also don't like them eating my health. Oh, apparently I can just bat them out of the air when they jump at me. Great. Love that. These ones are the most annoying, I think. They don't really do that much damage, though. Which is good. I thought they did. But still really annoying. Like, at this point, like, the like, jump aspect of them isn't even the issue. It's just, they're annoying. I can't see them around a corner, and so you just kind of have to deal with them giving you a little hickey, and I'm not okay with that. Okay, finish him off. Ah! By the time you hit the skip button, you've already watched the entire cutscene. Alright. Give me that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being ultra picky, but I don't like the combat in this game.
You're gonna have to sneak out the way you came in.
Like, it's repetitive in a really annoying kind of way. Also just very hard to tell when an enemy is actually dead. Am I missing something there? Like, are they giving cues as to them being dead? Or... Yeah, I know. You're gonna do a chomp on me, and I'm gonna do a stab on you. And it's gonna just be really annoying. Okay. But at least I get something for my troubles. 29. Yeah, it's like... Combat is just strange. It's not like combat that I have experienced in other games before. And so there is definitely an adjustment period there, but it's also like a choice. Ugh. Listen. I think they do less damage to me when I, like... Yeah! I try and do the dyslexic font for everything that I can, when I can, because I know that it's helpful. I was really surprised that the video game also offered the dyslexic specific font for their subtitles. I know, like, more games are starting to do that, which is cool, but yeah. Listen. Listen. I do try and, like, do what I can to make things on my stream as accessible as possible. Not just from the horror aspect of things, but also just the viewing or the listening of my streams. Either or both. It's what we're here for. I glad to know that it's appreciated. I mean, it's definitely like, it's just what we do around here, you know? Okay. Alright, are you actually dead? He is actually dead. Great. But yeah, how are you doing today, Junie? How's it going? Can I not go in there? Can I go in here? Can I go up here? Can I... Oh, you want me to... Okay. Understood.
Right. Listen clearly, Jacob. That vent in the far corner will get you to waste processing.
Also, we'll probably take a break soon, because I kind of need to go to the bathroom. Oh, okay. You just fully noticed me, regardless of me.
Threat condition elevated.
Oh? Wait, two sandwiches, your partner's dad? And told your partner's dad, you're blind, old man. And then I said, sorry. And then he called me Stretch. And I said, actually, I get Skeletor more often. I don't know. So, well? Well? Verbally kicking ass over here. Oh, God. Alright, yeah, we might take a break soon-ish. I'm trying to figure out if I want to take a break or if I just want to end stream. Because we've been streaming for almost 2.5 hours. But I do need some foods.
Inmate, remain where you are.
Said to shoot the head. I tried.
No movement detected.
Oh, God.
No.
Oh, God.
Resuming patrol.
Oh, my God. Sorry. Through the box? Through the box. Sir, you shot me through the box. How... Am I not supposed to fight them, despite the fact that the tutorial said that I could just shoot him in the head? That seems wrong. Ugh. Alright, sorry I missed stuff. Challenge every statement he makes. He must find you such an annoying know-it-all. Listen, it's good to make the older generation think about their shit. Where are you going? Okay, we'll just let him go. The man is so slow when walking. Okay, we'll just hop on over there. And, let's crawl on through here.
I made it to the tram. Contact me when
That's
you get to the checkpoint.
That's how we do that, right? The way he crawls through these vents is so annoying. Like, it's just silly. Okay. Exit
One
the
last thing.
station.
There's a trap in there to keep inmates from sneaking out.
What, say what now?
What do you mean a trap? Like a trap from Saw? Like, I want to play a game. Is it just that the ceiling collapses and crushes you? Elias, I need more information. Is it a cop asking me if I want to smoke weed? That's a bunch of saw blades. That's just a bunch of saw blades. Jacob wouldn't move. Jacob decided that standing in the middle of Sawblade Alley was the correct move, despite the fact that I was telling him to get out of Sawblade Alley. Hello, I'm a cop. Want to smoke weed? Well, it's entrapment.
One last thing.
That's a trap.
There's a trap in there to keep inmates from sneaking out.
It is a very silly trap. And I hate that Jacob is an idiot who doesn't want to move when I ask him to move. And that I have to go through these stupid, slow corridors every single time. I'm gonna not die, if for no other reason than to not have to crawl through those horrible, silly little spaces again. Alright, buddy. Bro. Okay. Go! Hey, cop here. Really enjoying your stream so far. I'm a cop. Would you like to ingest marijuana with me? It's okay. I'm a cop, and so I have to tell you about it, and police officers are allowed to ingest narcotics. If you're a cop, you have to tell me. Legally, you have to tell me if you're a cop.
I made it. I'm at the checkpoint.
Good. Now get to the window. Tell us what you see.
It's just a cop in a room that says, "Hey, cool kids, would you like to smoke the marijuana with me?"
You got the hell part right, bruv. It's a big storm blowing in. You don't want to get caught in the middle of that.
Yeah, I see it.
And then you just have to ask him, "Are you a cop?"
Yeah, that's our ticket out of here.
Yeah, I ran plenty of jobs.
And that's how you get around the trap.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
We will get you back to that life.
Are you allowed to make jokes about being a cop?
Which means you need to get your
I'm
ass
not
to
a
the
cop,
habitat
so I'm not going to tell you not to make jokes about being a cop.
No one said this would be easy.
Do it. It'd piss a cop off,
I've got
so
your
I'm
back.
here.
What is that supposed to mean?
I used to work down there, collecting research, you might say.
There was a guy who was selling a shirt that said "fuck the LAPD" on it, and the LAPD reached out to him and was like, "You have to stop that because we own the rights to the LAPD." And the response that the man sent to the cops, like to the actual cease and desist that he was served, was "lol, no." And it's because the guy who was selling the shirts has a PhD in like IP law. So, you know, I thought it was pretty great. Yeah, it was delightful. So, you know, fuck the police. Actually. Horrible fascist pigs. The LAPD really puts the L in LAPD. It's true. Big ol' L for them. Okay, yeah, we've just started a new section, so I think we're gonna call it there for today. And it did save, so we're good there. But I am tired, and I do need to go do and eat. Every time you worry you weren't kind enough to Whiskey Dad, hear him happily whistling and clapping, and I know all is... See, it's fine. Everything is fine. Man is unbothered. But yeah, this game sure is a game. And we'll probably finish it up at some point. I don't know how long this is, actually. Hey, how long is Callisto Protocol? It's true, you can lurk here. It's about a 10-hour game. About a 10-hour game. Okay. Well, the first thing that comes up is a Reddit post that is the Callisto Protocol really 7 hour story? Somebody's like, it's roughly an hour per chapter. 2 hours of gameplay is crawling through spaces, shimmying through cracks, and climbing ladders. So that's cool. You can luck her if you wanna. You ain't no friend of mine. You can leave your friends behind. If you don't luckra, then you don't luckra. And you leave friend behind. So true, bestie. There were a lot of cracks and vents. It is true. We have spent quite a bit of time going through cracks and vents and climbing some ladders. I don't hate it enough to not play it. We're gonna continue to play it, but it is gonna be a bad time, and we know that now. So hey, what can you do? Do we have any friends online right now? We do! Y'all, let's go say hi to Nimbly, because I haven't seen Nimbly in, like, forever. And that's what we're doing here. Alright? We're gonna go raid the lovely, the wonderful, the kind, sweet Nimbly. Yeah, I don't know when the next stream will be. Probably again just sort of on the weekends is the general like plan as a whole. I do want to try and do weekday streams again at some point, but like this week specifically, I'm starting to train a new person at work, so that's gonna be taking up most of my social battery. And so, you know, that's not gonna happen. Streams aren't gonna happen, but I might do like the usual hangouts after work and stuff like that, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, thanks y'all for being here, hanging out and chatting, and or lurking if you were lurking. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next time.